focused on. While the promotion, which is mostly, as I mentioned, ministry-wide, culture, economics, and tourism. Now to the policy analysis. I wanted to give a brief background of what this triangular and this South-South cooperation entails. Well, it comes from the fact that this dual concept of developed and developing nations seems to have been surpassed. Of course, emerging economies can range nowadays anywhere from Chile or Mexico to Timor del Este or Sierra Leone, right? So this gives them this makes it necessary to have another view, which, I mean, in order to simplify, has been called the middle-income countries. Of course, these middle-income countries have a lot of more experience with poverty and with developing issues than the developed world, and that's where the great opportunity comes from. In order to kind of improve the development architecture, international development architecture. Of course, North-South, as it is normally called, aid is still very important. It's about 90% of the total development cooperation in the world today. But a lot of the expertise and the knowledge that the developed world requires in order to give a better service or better cooperation to the developing world is greatly enhanced by these middle-income countries intervening and working as key partners. That's what Mexico has been doing quite a bit. Well, just to mention a bit further about this general trends of South-South cooperation. And an example that you must have heard of is the Chinese example, where they're building a development bank, very well financed as well. They have a lot of work in Africa. But the triangular cooperation is also key in this regard. And yeah. So just to give you an idea of what the Mexican context is as now, well, we're both a donor and a recipient country. We donate around $277 million, while we receive around 418. Most of the 277 we give to countries in the region, and the biggest donors in Mexico are the U.S. and France. Of course, the things that we receive are mostly things that would not generally be that are not the general things that the least developing countries would receive. For example, the main development aid that the U.S. gives to Mexico is actually in terms of the drug war, so by Plan Merida. So it's mostly military in order to fight the drug problem. And with France, it's actually alternative energy sources. So it's quite different from what normally you would expect from development. We also the whole South trade, of course, is Mexico giving to or working together with other countries, especially in the region. The triangular, though, is from having key partners from the global north and working with them, as we do with the U.S. and El Salvador. In Germany, with Germany, we work in Bolivia, Peru, and Colombia. Well, an interesting anecdote to give you an idea of the importance of this triangular aid is a German policy that was implemented in Central America of providing equipment for migration purposes. Yet, of course, the instructions were in German, so there was no way for the people that were actually implementing the policy, the street level bureaucrats, to do their work until Mexico got involved. Of course, we were able to show them how it was actually made, and the big finance had was successful. Right? Well, we also work with Spain and Honduras. Oh yes, and the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation. Well, the efforts that Mexico has been doing in both the South-South cooperation and the Triangular cooperation have been recognized by the international community. Last April, there was the first high-level meeting of the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation, and that was organized by the OECD and the UNDP. Mexico was chosen as host because of this dual relationship as a donor and as a recipient, but also because of and this of course gives Mexico good perspective and a good way to actually talk to both highly developed and LDC countries, but of course also for the Triangular cooperation. Just to mention about what I plan to do on my essay, I plan to really get into the details of what Mexico is doing in this Triangular and in this South-South cooperation. Well, thank you very much for your attention, and see you guys in a couple of months.